Welcome to another Clone adventure where we head to the Flinders Ranges. On our last episode, we were heading south on the Strzleci Track and turning off to the Mount Hopeless Road, heading towards Arkaroola. During this episode, we're going through the Flinders Ranges and finishing in Hawker. I hope to show you the best attractions the Flinders has to offer and some great camping spots. From our last episode, we were coming along here the Strzleci Track before turning left into Mount Hopeless Road.
This looks like a back straight.
Other than this weathered old sign pointing to Arkaroola, there's no indication or signage for Mount Hopeless Road. We nearly missed it and had to double check our maps. Traveling down the Mount Hopeless Road, you'll come across the Oodnadatta homestead, where you start to see the Flinders Ranges start to take shape. We came across lots of emus throughout the Flinders Ranges. I'm not even going to try and pronounce this one. Heading into the northern end of the Flinders Ranges, we're going to turn right and head up to Arkaroola. Arkaroola is a geologist's paradise. The government's own geologist, Sprigg, who had visited Arkaroola as a student between 1937 and 1940, was taken out of the army to help assess the uranium potential of the area. Sprigg was both a geologist and a biologist who saw a need for the area to be protected. In 1948, Sprigg was directed to lead interested entrepreneurs into the Flinders Ranges, looking at areas for a resort. Wilpena Pound was chosen. In 1965, the Sprigg family became concerned the 61,000 hectare property of Arkaroola was worsening, and the state of South Australia should take over the property in the interest of environmental conservation. In 1967, the property came up for sale and was purchased by the Sprigg family. By mid-1968, permission was granted to destock the property of livestock and feral animals and rest the property for the purposes of conservation. After much negotiation with the government, the Sprigg family was succeeded in having Arkaroola gazetted as a wildlife sanctuary in 1969 and a historic reserve by 1970. Over 150 kilometers of roads and tracks were created to allow access into some of the most magnificent terrain in South Australia. It's one of the most isolated, self-supporting villages with its own power generation and water collection systems. The Arkaroola Sanctuary remains to this day entirely privately owned, with all development under the control of the Sprigg family. We decided to stay down at the camping area, which we had a nice fire, a very cold night at -3. There is flush toilets in the campground, but if you want showers, you have to go up to the caravan park. We then decided to go for a drive around the back of the camp area, looking at all different other potential sites, before going and tackling the Eco Backtrack. Here's a map you get at reception. It shows all the tracks and the points of interest. The Eco Backtrack is a $50 fee per vehicle to drive this 12-kilometer track, or you can take a guided tour for half day for $195 per adult or $65 per child, or a full day is $345 per adult or $110 per child and includes lunch. Photos don't do it justice. It definitely looks so much better through your own eyes. This steep hill doesn't look so steep through a camera. We walked the 200 meters, but unfortunately there's no water in the waterhole. This looks like it could be a great camping spot. Unfortunately, I don't think you can camp in this area though. If you decide to do this trip or something similar, it's a good idea to get some good all-terrain tyres with a strong sidewall. We use the Maxxis razors. As you come out of the rugged escarpments, you start to see the flat plains that surround the Flinders Ranges. The 12-kilometre track took us 3 hours to complete. We were advised it wasn't worth seeing the hot springs, so we decided to head back to Arkaroola Village via Claude's Pass. Aborigines use these orca pits for thousands of years. The artists made red, purple and yellow pigments from orca clays, which are rich in iron. Mix 1 part orca in a glass jar with 1 part saliva or blood. Some traditional Aboriginal painters mix the orcas with kangaroo blood. The saliva or blood will bind the pigment and the paint is ready to use. Unfortunately, there was no water in this water hole either. This was a copper smelter. Not far from Grindle's hut, you'll come to Bunyip Chasm. I head back to the campground with a couple of stops on the way. We wake to another cold morning at -3 degrees. With an early start, we go to do the Mount Jacob Backtrack. There's no cost to do the Mount Jacob Backtrack. After finishing this backtrack, we head back to camp via the station backtrack. These are the facilities at the caravan park. Really good water pressure, nice and clean, but it hasn't been updated or renovated in probably 30 years. Very dated. We get back to camp by 1 o'clock, and it's decided we're going to pack up and head to Leigh Creek. It wasn't until 2002 this all-weather road was built between Arkaroola and Copley. It's 133 kilometers from Arkaroola to Leigh Creek and takes approximately 2 hours. We arrive at the Aboriginal community, Nepabanya. We arrive in Copley, which is just a small outback town with a population of 83 people. We decide to drive down the highway the extra 5 kilometers into Leigh Creek. Here at the petrol station, there's actually a museum inside the building. What an amazing place Leigh Creek is. Built and owned by the South Australian government in 1982, they built 350 homes with all the infrastructure to house all the government people and miners to work in the coal mine. The coal mine closed on the 17th of November 2015, and today Leigh Creek is a modern-day ghost town with a population of only 91 people. However, they do support all the surrounding stations. If you get a chance, go and see this information centre. It's right next to Foodland. It's got so much history on Leigh Creek of when it was a mining town. We were so impressed with Leigh Creek we decided to stay at the caravan park for the night. Not a traditional caravan park. All the slab sites here with power were actually old houses. We leave Leigh Creek and head down the highway to Oodnadatta Dam, which is the big dam that supports Leigh Creek. This is the railway tracks that took the coal down to Port Augusta for the coal-fired electricity plants. We leave Aruna Dam and head down to Parachilna to the Prairie Hotel to have our roadkill lunch. On the way, we stop into the historic town of Beltana. Don't make the same mistake we did and stopped here at the Beltana station, which is not his private property. The Beltana station was part of the old Gun track, and from Adelaide to Beltana was opened in 1881. A terrible death by burning. On the 15th of December 1881, Mrs. Johnson and her 4 children were accidentally burnt to death in their tent, but there is no direct evidence to show how the fire originated, and no blame is attachable to anyone. The jury begged to express their deep sympathy with the bereaved husband. We'll leave Beltana and head down to the Prairie Hotel for lunch. It's only 45 kilometres, a 33-minute drive.
Beautiful country. London town. No matter how far or how wide I roam, I still call straight. I still call straight. I still call straight home.
A few of us got the feral mixed grill, which consisted of an emu patty, a camel sausage, a goat chop, and a nice eye fillet of kangaroo. We leave the Prairie Hotel and head to Blinman via the Perelchina Gorge. The drive to Blinman is nice and easy. It's only 41 minutes and 31.8 kilometers long. Thanks again for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and our next episode will be our 2 days while we're in Blinman.